had to like physically lock down the USB ports, like by stabbing them with a screwdriver and filling them with hot glue.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So that was the job. That was one of the things I did, was literally break USB ports. And one of the things we realized, having done all of the computers, was that the developers used graphics tablets in order to do their work. So we had to then go around and install riser cards in the motherboard for USB ports on the inside and glue up the ones on the outside so that they weren't physically accessible. And so we broke all the USB ports, then installed more USB ports, and then let them plug in their graphics tablets. So that was a fun few weeks for 700 computers.
Is that recording?
Yeah.
All right. So, welcome to Diary of a Sysadmin. Today, I have a very special guest. We are the only people doing it in person so far, so, switching it up a little bit. A couple different time zones, UK, here in the US, so.
I mean, we're in the same time zone now, right?
Yeah, so,
Okay, good.
might as well make it work.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. So I think I officially met Dean in 2022, if I remember correctly. I saw this guy sitting at the table, and I was like, I think I saw that guy on YouTube once. Let me go talk to him. And sure enough, it was Dean, and kind of got to go on through there. Yeah. So take me back to something about this podcast is I learn about your journey to technology, your journey in tech. Tell me a little bit about your journey.
Right. So my first job was really internship, I guess, at a games company called Jagex. They make a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, MMORPG, called RuneScape. And back in the day, it was a pretty big thing. They had like 1 million members, and they needed some tech support. Actually, they didn't need tech support. They needed people. That was all. Just community support people. And so they were going around universities and offering like internships just to get in business. And they were offering for people to respond to community requests within the game. So like if you had a problem in the game, you could just reach out to someone live. And so they had literally students working through the night, through it, day and night, like 10 to 15 people per shift, just responding to people when they had a problem with the game. That's how much money they had. And that was in Cambridge. So I moved down from the north of England to Cambridge. I was there for a year, and then towards the end of that year, I got into IT a bit more with the fact that I was doing a computing degree. I enjoyed computers. So, I then started doing basic office support, computer support. They had this thing, like the CEO was a little bit security conscious, which is good.
Yeah.
They had two networks. They had like a development network and what they called a commercial network. And we had to like secure the computers physically because we were using we weren't actually. We were using group policy at the time. We had to like physically lock down the USB ports, like by stabbing them with a screwdriver and filling them with hot glue. Yeah. So that was the job. That was one of the things I did was literally break USB ports. And one of the things we realized, having done all of the computers, was that the developers used graphics tablets in order to do their work. So we had to then go around and install riser cards in the motherboard for USB ports on the inside and glue up the ones on the outside so that they weren't physically accessible. And so we broke all the USB ports, then installed more USB ports, and then let them plug in their graphics tablets. So that was a fun few weeks for 700 computers. And then I went back to university and finished off my degree, and then was invited back to do some more IT support there. And the first thing I did there was migrate from Vista to Windows 7. And I implemented Config Manager to do that, which was a big thing from scratch, from not having any experience in Config Manager to implementing it. And that's why I love Johan Arvidmark, because I just watched all of his, I had not watched it, it was reading all his blogs. Same with, I can't remember his name, Michael Nystrom. Just everyone that's here at MMS, those guys. Johan's not here, unfortunately, but he would be. I just learned everything from those guys, and that's how I got Config Manager working.
And so, you did mention that you went back to school. What was there? Did you leave because you were working, or?
Yeah, it was like a gap year thing.
Okay.
So it was like there's a 4-year degree, so I did my third, but between my third and fourth year, I came to Cambridge and did a stint in industry. Yeah, it was pure luck really, because they didn't need anyone technical. They just needed a person to like reply to customer complaints, and to find that I did IT there and enjoyed it, and then pretty much everything started there.
Was it just you at the place, or did you have a couple other people like that were mentoring you?
So there was a sysadmin who became the IT manager. He was great. He was called Tom. There was a proper Unix sysadmin who was like, no disrespect, a typical Unix sysadmin who was just so not anti-Windows, but the opposite of a Windows person, which was incredible to work with. So it was a very small team. And then there was this guy doing like office support, ordering tea, coffee, computers. Everything was it was a small team. But yeah, it was. I joined that team and was there for about 3 years, I think. It was good.
And so then you started learning. Was it at the time when you were learning about SCCM that you could tell, like, this is the place that I want to try the endpoint space? Tell me a little bit about, like, as you're learning SCCM, a little bit about your journey after that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was fighting the concept of budget, right? So SCCM was expensive back then. It still is. Well, it's actually not as expensive as it used to be because you can license it with Intune. But for me, not having any sway in the IT budget at all, I had to figure out how to do it. So I actually took MDT first and did the migration from Vista to 7 with the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit. And again, from having no experience in what that is, it was really not a fun experience. I don't want to admit this, but I should. When things like you're building a computer, like with OSD, and it goes wrong, right? And you see an error on the screen, yeah? So you then read the error, you Google what that means, or you go to a blog and find out what it means. Now, I hadn't really got the concept of logging, right? So I was just using that final error that you get on the screen and trying to figure out what happened because I thought that was the only error that you got. And that also meant that when I was trying something, trying to fix it, didn't work, tried again. And I was working through the night pretty much because I was waiting for the log to appear on the screen at the end. And it took like 2 or 3 hours to actually time out. So I was just, doing random stuff and then, okay, it's timed out. I was actually also recording the screen on virtual machines so I could get the final error. And that was after like a week of it, I was like, there must be a better way. And then found CCM trace and the logs. And that was when I realized that the final error isn't actually the thing that you need to see because it's far too generic and it's just the last thing that failed. Actually, a load of other things could have failed, and that might be the actual stem of the problem. So that was interesting. And that was MDT. And then I eventually moved into Config Manager. And that was a great transition because Config Manager could use MDT, you could integrate MDT and use all of that engine. And so it was actually a pretty easy transition to Config Manager from there, which is why I knew it so well by the end of it.
It's funny that you mentioned it, though, and probably a lot of people might have had a similar experience where, right, they just wait for that end screen to see the error. If you just don't know, you don't know. Yeah. I'm sure that you're just probably getting started, or you're just kind of like, okay, here's this error. I want to see what's wrong. As you're learning more about like SCCM, did you start to take more ownership of it? How did you kind of get a little more involved with SCCM?
So I actually took the entire System Center because it was sold as a license pack of System Center, the suite. And so I tried to implement all of it because that seemed like a reasonable thing to do. So I implemented Service Manager, Orchestrator, Ops Manager, VMM, the whole thing. So I learned all of it and realized how bad some of it was for some tasks. And thankfully, no one but me realized that the impact of it and how much it cost and how much time was spent doing it. So maybe I shouldn't. Hopefully my boss isn't watching. But that was all on me to learn. So it was a great experience for me to understand all that stuff. But finally, it didn't make sense to do all that other stuff just because it's called System Center. System Center Configuration Manager was its own thing. It was about endpoints, and it wasn't about managing alerts and managing virtual machines. They weren't technically the same. related at all. It was just a licensing thing, a marketing thing. So yeah, that's how I got more into Config Manager, because I then sort of focus and just did use Config Manager for what it was.
Did you use it for a long time at that point?
Yeah. So I moved to another company, a very short stint at an MSP, and then a longer stint at a networking company in Europe, and implemented Config Manager there. And that was, that was something that I identified that they needed. So that was a great thing in the interview to say, I think you could use this tool to manage your endpoints rather than group policy. And so, yeah, started to use that more there and became the SME there for that. And then my next move after that was to become a consultant in deploying Config Manager for, well, huge enterprise customers in the UK, which was good.
So somebody who doesn't know like what consultants like, are you a part of like just say like 3 different companies? Or are you just kind of like, do you work with them like all the time or just when they need you?
It kind of depends on the customer really, and the size and scale of the project. But for me, when starting out, the pre-sales people, or the sales people and the pre-sales people, would design a solution, would convince the customer to buy something, and then they would send me in to implement the thing they'd sold. And I enjoyed that because I got to use the technology. And often, if you're the SME and the pre-sales person doesn't necessarily know everything specifically about the thing they've sold, which is terrifying, but happens, then they can bring you in to do, help them learn it and make sure they're selling the right solution to customers. So I then learned how to do broader architecture and decision making on which products were the right fit for customers. So that was good. But yeah, it was a variety of customers. Some very short stints, just implementing something and then leaving, and then other customers that were long term, like councils in the UK, that were multi-year, which is good because I got to experience working in a company that I had some ownership of, and that's one of the things that I find is really difficult as a consultant. You sometimes lose ownership because you don't care so much about every bit of that business, like the end users. You don't know the end users by name.
Yep.
Whereas if you are the customer and you are working with that team day to day, then you kind of know who people are and whether they're going to be annoyed that their computer restarted during an app deployment. That kind of thing. You only get to know once you start working closer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's probably a little bit, it's a pros and cons, but you also like, I'm sure you are under like tight deadlines. You have to make sure that you're getting your checklist done.
Yeah.
So, so when did you start learning about Intune?
When it was Windows Intune, before it was any good at anything, really, it was really quite bad. And it was MVPs that were talking about it, saying this is a new thing, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. It's not very good. It uses Silverlight. It's a terrible thing to use. I'm going to keep using Config Manager, and just kept using Config Manager for as long as I could, really.
Do you remember what year that or a time frame that you remember getting introduced to it?
2014, right at the start.
And so, you're obviously working with SCCM, and Intune comes along. For anybody that doesn't know, Dean has an amazing YouTube channel, Dean Ellerby MVP.
Yeah.
Is that correct? When did that come about?
The YouTube channel? That was because COVID stopped me traveling to customers. So I used to be on customer sites, either in Europe or in London or wherever, 3 or 4 days a week. And I was suddenly at home all days a week, like everyone else. And I had to do something and had to practice stuff and learn how to do stuff. So yeah, set up that. It was bad timing. It was great timing actually, but it was bad timing because I couldn't get a haircut throughout the entire period, right? So my hair is ridiculously long throughout the start of those videos because no one could get a haircut. And so that's interesting. I go back and go, why was I couldn't leave the house. Yeah.
We'll try to find a picture and put it on the
pretty bad.
It'll be right here.
Yeah.
And so, during COVID, you're starting to do that. And it's I'm sure it's done you really well. You know, not only does it help, it ultimately helps you. You're like, you know, if you want to learn something new, like, okay, if I make a video about it, you know, you're kind of like a little vulnerable of like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm going to show you guys or gals what this is going to do.
Mm-hmm. The great thing about YouTube is that you can record it and then you're in control of the edit. So you can cut bits out. And I learned quite quickly that I got a better response and better comments and better likes on the videos where I didn't cut out the failures. So I would leave the failures in. And actually, when you look back and think, if I cut out the failures, I would probably lose 90% of my videos because Intune fails a lot.
Yes.
Stuff fails.
Yes.
So I just kept the failures in and was like, at the end of the video, I was like, yeah, we'll try again. And then just did another video because there's no one's telling you not to make more videos, right? So that one failed. Watch the next one. We'll see if we can get it right. And that's pretty much how it started.
It's probably nice too. You don't have to do all the edits.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
Well,
or a little less editing.
the first video was 10 minutes long, I think. And it took me 10 hours to record and edit because I was very bad at recording and editing. Because I didn't record it for editing. I recorded it for, I had no idea. I just recorded it. And so I also wanted to make like the cuts. If I did put a cut in there, I wanted to make it smooth so you couldn't realize I'd edited it all. And you don't need to do that. No one cares. Literally, no one cares. And I spent a lot of time like making sure there was no jumps between. Yeah, I didn't need to do that. But it was good. It was a good experience. I was learning a new.
Where do the graphics come in play? If you haven't seen some of the recent graphics, you see like there's some animated characters. There's like there's a mouse in one.
Yep. Yep.
Where did that come from?
Well, right, probably a few years ago when not even OpenAI, I was using Midjourney for those originally. So before ChatGPT became a thing that could do it, I was using Midjourney because I wanted to have some identity on there for the graphics and stuff. And yeah, I was using Midjourney. I was using Canva to put like the title over it. Because the alternative was just a picture of my face on the corner of the thing. So I was trying to do something different, and it was good on Midjourney. You could like just describe anything you wanted. I was said something like a mouse in a soup. I was like, that's a pretty funny picture. I'll put that up. And that's how it started.
Yeah, I love them. I think they're hilarious. I'm sure other people probably think the same too. So I was always curious about that. And you have your own studio now, is that correct?
Yeah. So my office, which is like a bedroom in my house, got a little bit small for all the stuff I was trying to do. So like recording on a laptop, like a physical laptop to talk about physical device security or something, I couldn't really do because I had one camera directly in front of me. So now in the studio, I've got 3 cameras, and it means I can just leave everything set up for video recording. And I don't need to, if I'm just like doing admin and doing general consulting, I don't need to be on camera. So I can do that from home. Whereas in the office, I'm ready to record.
Is the office close by, or do you have trouble?
It's about 10 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
So it's far enough to clear your head by the time you get there, but also close enough to home.
Yep. So you mandated your return to office.
Yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah.
But I'm sure it's really nice to have that kind of separate space between like, you know, you kind of probably get in the zone of like when you're at the studio, fully focusing.
But there's nothing else to do.
That's yep.
Yeah.
So another thing with, you know, having a studio and being in the endpoint space, you probably accumulate a lot of devices, a lot of testing devices. One of the things I ask people is like, how many devices do you own at this point?
Right, like laptops,
Laptops, desktop.
mobile.
Do you have a server that you're running your virtual machine?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah, I have a Dell. I forget the name of it. 720 something. A PowerEdge.
Wow. Holy cow.
Yeah. So I've got that. It's very noisy. It's in my garage. That runs VMs. But actually, I run a lab in Azure now as well. With MVP credits, you can run quite a big machine in Azure. So I run a Hyper-V host in Azure and then have VMs there so I can do building. I don't know if that's like the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I haven't asked anybody like if that's the best way to do it. But yeah, I run Hyper-V in Azure, which is sounds weird, but it works for me. I stopped buying Windows machines a while ago. Although I did buy an XPS device recently because I wanted to use Copilot Plus features. to test them. But mainly I buy Macs. I have a lot of Macs. I have a Mac Studio. I have 2 MacBooks, 4 Mac Minis. Yeah.
Have you seen the MacBooks, the one with the rack? It's a, I think it's a MacBook Pro server,
Mac Pro.
Mac
Yeah.
Pro.
Yeah.
You gonna get one of those?
No. No, they're like $9,000.
Yeah, they are crazy.
I don't need that.
Crazy.
Although the reason I moved to Mac was because video editing on a Windows PC, it needed a lot of power, a lot of CPU, a lot of RAM. Also generated a lot of heat, so the fans would go. And I used to record on the same machine that I would edit on, and it meant that it was always noisy. And so when I was in my home office trying to record, I'd have a lot of background noise to remove because of the fans on the Windows PC. And then I thought, I'll try a Mac. I got a Mac Mini, and started recording on that and editing on it, and it was way faster to edit and render and stuff than it was on the Windows PC, which was good. And also it was completely silent when I was recording. So generally a better experience for everyone. And it was like $600.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't know if you've seen the recent ones, the M4s, the Airs. Pretty good starting point. But I would recommend if you did want to get one, spec it out a little higher. Just because, right, you can't customize
Yeah.
the RAM.
Kind of a one-time purchase.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Although I have found that just try it. So you can buy it from a store and then take it back within 2 weeks. So you try it out, see how fast it renders. If it's not good enough for what you need, just take it back, and they're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think I saw that you're the organizer of Workplace Ninjas UK.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the organizers. There's about 10 of us
Okay.
in total.
How long has that been going for?
Just over a year. I think we started in January 24 in London. We did a very small event in a cinema there, which had around 100 attendees. But most of the attendees arrived or signed up on the day, which is very stressful.
Wow.
Yeah, we had that was weird. Like people arriving saying, "I didn't sign up yet." Okay, so you heard about this today then? Like, yeah, I just heard. Okay, that's bad. And then the next one was in Manchester, we had more time to organize it, so there was more promotion and stuff. Still free to attend. That went pretty well. We had around 200 people attend that. It was packed. We had a few different rooms. We had a lot of great speakers. That was like a full day event, pretty much. And then the next one's in Edinburgh, which is in 40 days' time. So depending on when this goes live, it's in June, 16th and 17th of June.
16 and 17 of June.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll make sure to note that. And is registration open for people to attend?
It's currently open. Yeah, we are doing pretty well. We've got around 214 people registered so far, which is good considering the biggest problem actually, and this is something I didn't realize before I started organizing events, is that if it's free to attend, people just might not attend.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And I knew that from virtual events I would run. You'd get 100 people sign up and 50 people would turn up. And running a virtual event, I don't care. It doesn't, you were busy, I don't care, it's fine. But a physical event, you kind of know if you're going to turn up. You know if you've bought a train ticket or a plane ticket, you know. And I assumed people would not sign up if they weren't planning to attend. And it matters more in a physical event because I bought food. Right? I bought food for those people who signed up, so it matters much more. And so the Edinburgh event is it's a paid ticket, which is something we haven't done before, and mainly that's security for us because we're spending a lot of money on food. We're expecting more than 300 people to attend. That's a lot of food. There's a lot of drinks, and there's a lot of organization that goes on. And we're at MMS. All the conferences of that kind of size have to charge, and we did kind of take inspiration from some of the conferences in the UK that don't charge, but they don't provide food. And I didn't realize that at the time that they didn't provide food. So I was kind of wondering how on earth do they sustain it? They don't provide food, which is one option for next time.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that can have catering, and actually MMS don't provide food.
They do at the destination, um, so there's the MMS Mall here located in Mall of America, and then they also have a destination
Yeah, the half year
location.
one.
Yep,
Yeah.
they do provide food there.
Do they?
Yeah,
Of
actually,
course they do. Yeah, I was there in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale.
couple
No, not Fort Lauderdale.
Miami.
In yeah,
Do,
Miami Beach,
were you there? Do you remember what year?
2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah,
I think that was the time when I went in. The food was
good.
phenomenal.
It was
I
good.
don't know if you
It was
remember.
so hot. Yeah, it was a great event actually. So yeah, food there. But there's so much to learn,
Mhm.
and we're learning really quickly. Thankfully, this is the third event, so it's a great experience for us to learn. And we think we're creating an event where everyone can come along, speak to speakers, speak to MVPs, and generally have a good time.
How many speakers do you guys have?
We have 70 speakers, including keynotes.
70.
70
Wow.
over 2 days.
Holy cow.
It's going to be busy.
Hmm.
Yeah, good.
So who is Dean Ellerby outside the computer? What do you like to do? So you having like a YouTube channel and other platforms, obviously you stay very busy with that because, you only have X amount of times in the day.
Yep.
So, but what do you like to do in your free time?
I don't really have free time. So I run two businesses, which is my main business for consulting. Mainly my time is spent working for Robopack at the moment, so doing consulting for them and helping them with their go-to-market from a community perspective there. That takes up more than a week worth of time per week. And that's difficult to then say, what else do I do in my free time? And then coming to conferences like this, trying to keep up with YouTube recordings and stuff. I have two kids. I don't think I have any free time. I just sustain every day to the next day, doing as much as I can to, keep everyone happy and just, be there with the right people at the right time.
So that's a lot of work, man. What do you do to kind of, keep some sanity or, just kind of keep on the right track?
Yeah.
Like, do you go for walks? Do you like, just try to clear your mind?
So I cycle every day for an hour, which is something I just do whenever. I can't schedule it because I have calls with customers. I have like kids doing random groups now and again. So usually in the evenings, I kind of use that time to like watch maybe some TV and then some music just to decompress and get ready for the next thing I'm going to do. Um, I recently got a dog,
Okay.
not like no, I haven't got a dog. That's also a lie. I borrowed a dog
Okay.
from my brother because
Okay.
he was going on holiday. So I really enjoyed taking her for walks actually, and just not I wasn't able to cycle for that time because I had something else to do, but just wandering around with a dog and keeping that alive and stuff was good. I enjoyed it.
So you're thinking of getting a dog?
No, because I go to conferences a lot. My wife works. We wouldn't be able to look after the dog long term. Yeah, as much as it would be a good way for me to relax, I'm just I'm here for a week. In a couple of weeks' time, I'm in Norway. Yeah, it's not a good idea for me to have a dog, and I can't just put that on the rest of the family to
Yep.
look after that dog. So yeah, I think dogs are great, but I'll probably just borrow them now and again.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. Like
Yeah.
you're kind of the uncle.
Yeah.
You're the uncle of the dog, and
Exactly.
hey, you can take care of it, but then, what's the saying? It's like a bar saying, you can stay here. What was it? I should know this. See? Terrible. Yeah, but you have a nice perspective of like, hey, I can take care of the dog, but here you go. So you've been an MVP for 3 years now. Do you remember when you got it?
Not vividly, no. Just it was like a year and a bit after starting YouTube.
Okay.
Just doing YouTube stuff, speaking at conferences, actually not speaking at conferences. I didn't do conferences. Just speaking at user groups and stuff.
Do you remember when you first got started, like speaking? Like say outside of YouTube? Like do you remember when you first started to attend like you mentioned a user group or like similar to like a MS or something?
Well, we were doing virtual user groups for a long time because of COVID, and even then, user groups didn't start back up until recently, physical. Yeah, I attended MMS 3 years ago, I think, maybe when we met. And that was the first conference that I really loved and really enjoyed actually attending. And I've been here ever since, really. It's a great conference to come to. And then the one in Miami Beach I spoke at, which was a good experience. I enjoyed it. It's a lot of work speaking. And I actually spoke to some of the speakers here because I'm attending this one. I spoke to them and I was like, is it worth it? It's like 6 sessions you're doing. Is whatever it costs, whatever you get reimbursed, right? Is that worth? Because they get reimbursed like the flights, the hotel, and the ticket, right? Is that worth 6 sessions worth of preparation and speaking and
The pressure,
everything?
that's like, I mean, you got to spin up virtual machines, you got to spin up environments.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Is that worth whatever it costs? And to some people that might be, they might not be able to attend unless someone else is paying, and that's great. But for the ones I've spoken to, it's like they enjoy speaking, so it's worth it to be able to speak in front of people and have that experience.
opportunity. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it's the people here who are speaking just enjoy speaking, which is great.
Yeah, yeah. And there's some phenomenal speakers here.
Yeah.
You know, if you go to MMS Speakers website, you'll see some of the awesome people here. So you didn't start speaking at a place like MS or conferences until 3 years ago?
That was my first ever 2 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
My first ever public speaking was 2 years ago.
What?
Like public in public, not public in a bedroom.
So what kicked that off? Like, was it somebody in your ear telling you go present? Was it just like personal
No,
goal?
I just I had submitted previously to MMS, but MMS is a difficult conference to get into, really, because there's so much great talent speaking here, and the usuals are always selected because they bring the crowd, they bring people who want to see them. So a new person coming in, but actually in Miami Beach that year there was some, people just. I think there was fewer regular speakers submitted that year for some reason, so I got a chance to speak, which was great.
Nice, nice. Man, I know. If I remember correctly, you had a session on macOS with Peter.
Peter, it was with iOS and iOS and Android.
iOS and Android. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember attending one of your sessions with Peter, and can't remember what year that was, but yeah, I thought you guys,
Yeah,
you guys did really good.
I've spoken once, so that would be it.
And so, is that when you really started to learn a little bit about Mac management with Intune?
Thankfully, I'd learned it before the session. But yeah, there was a session on Mac. You're right. I did a couple of sessions. No, because I'd started using Macs for recording YouTube then, so I'd started learning how to do that. And not many people were creating content on Mac, so like about Mac. So I had already done that, which is why I submitted the session. And yeah, I've been doing training courses on Mac now for a couple of years.
So when you do training courses, is it like, do you show up to a room in a place?
No, virtual.
Virtual, okay.
Yeah, virtual live training. On Johan's platform, the Via Monster Academy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
is there anything that excites you with like some of the releases with Intune for Apple management? Like one of the ones that really excites me right now is the DDM. It's like a framework for Apple.
Declarative device management.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some name.
Yeah. So that's good. Platform SSO was something that needed to happen. The cloud, being able to cloud. Oh God. Intra-join.
Yes.
Mac devices. That was a thing that was desperately needed for some kind of parity against Windows, so that it worked with conditional access. Really, that was the thing. The thing I want to work better with Macs is app management. Really, that has to get better.
Oh,
because
100%.
It's utterly shocking. Now, I recorded a few videos and I did a few courses on it, and mainly I did it again and again because I couldn't reconcile the fact that it was so bad. Like there's so many ways to do it and so many ways to get it wrong. And the answer from platforms like Jamf and Jamf admins is to use a third-party solution. But that third-party solution, like you've got to host yourself, and it's not a very easy click.
Intuitive.
Yeah. So I want that to be better. So it's good that Patch My PC, you've got that, the new Patch My Mac solution that's just come out, which is good. Robopack, I know are developing something as well. They have that in private preview now. So that's going to be great. as well. It needs to get better.
It
That's
does.
the
It
problem.
does. And it's crazy that it's kind of, it seems like now it's a little more buzzwords into, or a little more buzz to it, you know, because it's like, what were the Mac admins doing before?
Well, yeah, they were using Monkey and using Jamf and stuff, but yeah, I don't think that works with Intune.
Yeah.
I mean, technically it does. I don't think it works with the mindset of people who are using Intune.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one, I don't know if you've kind of seen it or heard about it with Mac Labs.
Yes, I haven't seen it,
Yeah.
but I've
I've
heard.
not seen it. It was announced that potentially might be available in the second half of 2025.
Okay, sorry, you mean Mac Labs,
Yep.
as in not the community version,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
because there's a very I can't remember the name of the guy who yeah, I don't always get up, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's a version that already exists called Mac Labs, but
It's also very not straightforward. It
is it
is
not?
straightforward, but
I haven't used it.
yeah.
I haven't used it.
Which I mean, like, right, Labs for with Windows, it's pretty straightforward inside of Intune. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It should be as simple to use
yeah.
to do Mac stuff as it is Windows stuff.
Let's see. You know, being in the UK, do you go to any football games?
No, I hate football.
You hate football?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I grew up in a city called Sunderland, and they had stadium right in the center of their like residential street. And my grandmother and my auntie and my mother lived kind of around that stadium, so I would constantly be just inundated with football because every week there was a match and there was like horses with police on them and people walking to the football game and stuff. And I just got I just didn't care. It was kind of it was so in your face. I just stopped caring about football.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't follow football at all really. And at the time, some of them weren't great. Like the team I should support weren't doing so well, and maybe that's not a thing you should care about. But I just didn't get into it. I don't have time. It's a lot of effort to
Yes.
watch.
Muting, if you're going to go to a game, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
that's a whole day.
I used to watch Formula One as well. I used to be on like a Saturday, still is, right? I see Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's a lot of effort to sit through, and I don't have that time because through the week I work, the weekend I work. Yeah,
And you have little ones who dictate your time.
yeah. They're starting to literally dictate it now. They're like that kind of age where they can tell me what they want to do. So yeah, that's good.
Oh man. Let's see. So, do you have any stories that stick with you, like being in IT? Like maybe not oh crap, but maybe like I won't be doing that again. Like maybe if it's like, you know, deleting all the objects from a Active Directory or something. Is there anything that like sticks out to you?
Yeah, I got this. I got a CCNA, right? I did a course in college of Cisco Certified Network Associate, and got that. And all of the switches in my in one of the companies I worked for were Cisco, right? So I was also responsible for just general patching of network cables and when a new computer needed a network, obviously the cable, you plug a cable in. And at one point, the switch died, right? It just didn't. The lights were all on. They were all green. They're not all meant to be green all the time, just steady. So it's broken, right? And so I need to reboot it. Fine, I can. It's currently not servicing anyone, so the only thing I can do is reboot it. The reason I was in there is because they were telling me they couldn't get to the internet, so I'll reboot it. So I remembered from my course that one of the things you can do with a switch is just hold the front button for like 10 seconds and it will reboot.
Yep.
So I did that. It doesn't reboot. It flattened it. So I flattened the switch. So yeah, I walked back to the office, into the IT office, and said, "I did a silly." So yeah, that was good. That was like a pretty bad day, but it was fine because like we had backups of the switch and the config hadn't changed much at all, so it was fine. But that was a day.
Your hard drive, like you're like,
Yeah,
holy cow.
yeah. You know that moment when
Yes.
it just you realize what happened.
You get hot.
Yeah,
There is no more noise.
yeah,
It's just like, oh my
yeah.
goodness.
it went from bad to oh. Yeah.
Let's see, and then trying to see what else can we dig out of Dean? Let's see.
Not very deep. I don't. I'm very surface level. There's not a lot to me. I I yeah. You pretty much covered everything, I think.
Um, let's see. I did want to ask you about yeah. So have you partnered with anybody like I think you and Steve Weiner, or I don't know, partner, but like do you ever like, cross platform with other like YouTubers, or like, just try to play around in different how do you spruce up your platform? How do you spruce up like staying engaged? Right? Because as you go down this rabbit hole, you see a lot of other different creators, you see a lot of different like, techniques and stuff. Um,
I enjoy speaking to Steve. I enjoy working with Steve. Generally, he's a very funny guy. So we've done a couple of kind of live interviews and stuff, or just videos together that we publish on each other's platform because he's got his own followers. I've got mine. Otherwise, I'd do more if it came up. It just hasn't come up
Yep.
yet. I think
Yep.
there's that, the whole recording content is a thing that I do when I have time. Same with other creators. I'm assuming that when you've got time, when you've got an hour, you can sit down. It takes a lot of planning. There are some creators that I've seen who do, like the mem guys, Modern Endpoint. I forget the name of it, but they've got a thing where they're all on the screen at the same time. And Intune Training, actually,
Yep.
Adam Gross and Steve, and the rest of them, actually, they are able to do that. I just can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not consistent enough with my own time that I would be able to be respectful of other people trying to join a video.
Yeah.
So, yeah. In fact, not a funny story, just an annoying story. I was doing a live stream, I think, and realized that I was going to do it on my own, and felt like it was kind of going to be a bit weird just on my own to do a live stream. I hadn't really planned it. So I just messaged Steve on WhatsApp. I was like, Steve, can you just join a live stream? And he said, yeah, when? Now. It's starting. He said, yeah.
He hopped on.
Yeah, he jumped on. Yeah, it's great.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, he's very funny.
Yeah. Steve Weiner, get Rubik's. He's awesome. Let's see. Do you follow like any other like YouTubers, or like do you listen like maybe podcasts like that you enjoy?
So yeah, so Steve obviously on YouTube. Andy Jones is good. He's actually on a channel I used to work on. I still work with him on that. There's a few, yeah, and they all kind of create content that is interesting for that particular thing. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but Neil Virtual Mank, who does ABD and Nerdio content, which is pretty good. Yeah, I mean, just people that are in the community, however I can interact with them and learn from them, I try and do that. Outside of tech, Diary of a CEO is when I'm on a long journey in the car, I'll stick that on Apple Podcasts and listen to that. Some of it is a little bit commercialized. He went a bit weird with the ads and stuff now. I think it's a little bit annoying. The original content he was creating was much, I think, better.
Yep.
But it's a great format to see him just interview people about something that he doesn't know. So yeah, I like that.
And in that kind of realm, I usually ask some people too, like, what kind of advice do you give for maybe new IT professionals or people trying to join the endpoint space, or just IT in general? Having your career almost 20 years, at least back to 2006. If you could summarize some advice or maybe some tips and tricks,
Right.
what would you say to your 18-year-old self potentially?
You're going to get things wrong. Just expect that. Find out how to work with the fact that you've got it wrong. So learn from the mistake that you've made. Like the example I gave earlier on of me not understanding how to find error messages, right? someone will have done that, and hopefully you'll be able to find someone who's got that error, and then you can see how they've worked through it. I was in a session earlier on, and they did a demo, and it didn't work, which was great because it doesn't work in real life,
Yes.
right? That's the great thing about live demos. When they fail, that's a learning experience. It's not that the demo failed, but the thing they were doing didn't work. That's exactly how it works in real life. Intune isn't consistently perfect. It's consistently bad, actually, for a lot of things. So just expect that. And I guess it wouldn't have made sense back then for an 18-year-old, but use AI just to learn, to double check things, to not, obviously a lot of guardrails with AI now to make sure you don't just rely on it, but
Yes.
use AI for the stuff that you can, which is a bit woolly, but I use AI all the time just to summarize things. I'll give it a series of things that I've learned or some notes that I've made and make it summarize them. You have to say things like, don't make stuff up, because it will just make stuff up if it's got a gap. So learn AI, I think would be the thing to do. Yeah.
How have you can you unravel that a little bit? Like, what are some other ways that you use AI that you find valuable for yourself?
I use it every day for almost everything I do. Apart from creating content, because it's bad at creating content, it's bad at writing. Like you couldn't. Some people do, and it's clear when they do, but you can't get it to write some content for you and publish that content because it's going to be clearly not human generated. But it looks a little bit human generated. So if you don't read it and publish it, then someone else will actually read it and they'll go, "That's not human generated." But use it for stuff that you need internally. So I use it for example, all the planning for the event in Edinburgh. All of that is pretty much being condensed, and all the announcements I'm doing for speakers and for sponsors and stuff is all being kind of generated by AI, and then I'm reading it to make sure it's actually true. And there's so much information to go in these emails and to go into the database that we've got. I have to use some kind of tool, otherwise I just spend hours and hours creating the same emails over and over again. But yeah, I think just use AI as much as you can for what it's designed for, which is really writing and doing the ingestion of lots of data and summarizing it and calculating it and then presenting a result.
Yeah. No, it's been awesome, right? Like even if you just tap your foot in a little bit with AI, like you don't have to go all in right away, but just start it to dabble your feet into it. I think it's really good for like you said, summarizing stuff. Like I don't know if you use it for your channel, summarizing some pointers or things like that. I kind of use it for this, where I'll put I have the tool called Riverside. It kind of gives me summary notes with AI, which is phenomenal because right, it's probably just getting the data and just summarizing somehow.
So when you publish a YouTube video, you need to write a description and you need to write some tags. And I generate the description and the tags from the transcript of the video. So I copy the transcript of the video from YouTube, put it into ChatGPT, and say, give me the description and the tags. It'll look bad, like the actual description, so I'll rewrite some of that. But then the tags are great because it's all the content that's in the video. It's exactly what it's for. And then you can also get it to take the content that you've written in the description and weave in some keywords, because that's how your videos are found on YouTube. So it's able to just weave in keywords that might be relevant. So I use it for that, for sure.
Do you remember your longest YouTube video? The one that took you the longest?
Yeah, it was the first one.
The first one?
Yeah. It was 10 minutes and it took 10 hours. Yeah. But I had to learn how to do stuff wrong. I've used pretty much every tool to edit videos now, and I've settled on the one that I like, but I've used all of them. I've now experienced all of them. It costs a lot of money to try them all, but I now know which one I like. And the first one I tried was the hardest. It was DaVinci Resolve, which is free, which is why I tried it first. But it was hardest to use. I had to learn everything about video editing. It's like a proper production movie editing suite, I learned a lot, but it took a long time. And so the other thing is that I realize now that I needed to make more content more quickly rather than try and make content perfect because no one cared. No one, like 10 people watched that video. So I didn't need 10 hours of perfectionism on it. I just needed to release it. And then 10 people go, that wasn't very good. Okay, great. I'll do another one. That's what I needed to do with that. And so I started releasing more content more quickly and leaving in the failures because that's is more valuable to people to see when I fail because I failed a lot. And if I got rid of all of the failures, I'd have 95% less content. And the thing you need to learn how to do is to create content. So I left the failures in there and I edited it as if it was great. And at the end, I say, that didn't work. Let's try again. And yeah, it worked.
Do you ever read your comments?
I try to. There's a lot of comments. If you can imagine, I've got like over 200 videos, so it's hard to keep up with those. And some of them don't even get notified, so I have to actually go to the video and see the comments. But yeah, it's good. It's good to see.
I'm sure also with any online platform, or maybe I'm speculating, but like there could be some nasty ones or just like judgmental.
Weird, actually. No, there's been no,
No.
unless I haven't seen them, there's been none that have been like unnecessarily mean. I know Steve gets some weird ones because he starts out with like a skit, some kind of stand-up comedy, and some people don't realize that he's just joking. So yeah, but mine have been either no comment or just
That's awesome. That's awesome.
relatively positive.
I'm gonna go up to your next one and be like, "Come on, hurry up!" No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah. Do you have you overloaded your authenticator app with the test users?
Yeah, it's like scroll. Yeah, it's not good. I need to clear it out, but I'm worried that if I clear it out, I'll need a test user that is on there, and I'll knock myself out. Yeah,
That's one of those like hard ones. Well, obviously you're kind of like, it's kind of you're kind of a kind of your job. It's kind of like, it's just kind of revolves around you a lot than more people probably,
yeah, maybe.
your job and your content.
Yeah,
So, and you're always testing new users, just new groups. Like, it's kind of nice though. It's just kind of like your dev test, your tenant.
yeah. I think the difference for video creators is that the demo tenant needs to look good. Like when you're just doing blogs, when you're only doing blogs, you need a screenshot which looks good, right? But when you're doing videos, the entire screen needs to look professional, or at least,
Presentable.
yeah, exactly. And that's more difficult to create than just a screenshot.
Yeah, I can't imagine how many. Well, when you get home, well, I find it useful when I'm like on a plane to clean stuff up like that. So.
Oh, I just thought of another content creator that I follow, John Saville. He is incredible. Have you heard of John Saville?
He is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Buff guy from Azure.
He's incredible. Yeah, every bit of his content is well produced. It's accurate, and that's the main thing. He's a great presenter.
He breaks it down so simple. Like he brings these really complex problems and just. I love the whiteboard concept too.
Yep. Yeah.
I wonder if he has like a production team or if it's just him.
No, so he's done some behind the scenes videos, and it is just him. Yeah, but he's got such a good schedule, like for recording stuff. But I think it is just him.
And he is based out of the
US.
US?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he is from the UK, but he now lives in the US.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you ever get to meet him or talk to him?
No, I've spoken to him on email because I tried to get him to come to the UK conferences. But yeah, it's a lot of travel, and he's obviously got an incredibly tight schedule for his customers and for Microsoft and for his content. So yeah, he couldn't do that. But yeah, I spoke to him. He seemed quite nice.
I believe it. I mean, I'm sure if he's helping others, right? I'm sure he's a really nice guy. So I wonder if he does any speaking events. I don't know if
I haven't seen him speak anywhere. Yeah, I haven't seen him speak anywhere.
We got to get him to Edinburgh, or got to get him to the UK.
I really doubt he'll come. Yeah.
So how was it like when you first posted? Like, were you scared starting your YouTube channel? Were you like nervous? What did you like take a week before you pressed publish?
No, no, it was just went out there.
Just did it.
Yeah, but it's the other content from Intune training that was pretty much the alternative to what I was doing
Mm-hmm.
at the time. There was no one else doing the content I was doing back then. Yeah, it was. Here's a video. Hope you like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things that that I've noticed is like you're a calm guy, and like from what I can tell, and just knowing you, you kind of keep that calmness inside of your videos. And I'm just like, some people are like, I'm kind of crazy, a little bit crazy, uh, outlandish. You're a super calm guy, and I think that translates really nice for your content.
Mm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I'll change how I'm doing the videos too much now that I've got the studio set up and have everything set up as it is. So yeah, I'll just keep doing that.
okay. Let's see. I'll ask a couple. I'm gonna ask a couple funny questions. So the first, I usually ask people, do you prefer Google or Edge? Google Chrome,
Oh,
Microsoft
I see. Edge.
Edge,
Yeah. Because Edge had all the benefits of Chrome, but can be secured.
and the profiles.
Yeah,
I
there is that. Chrome has profiles, right? I
Yes,
think it does.
yeah, yeah.
I haven't used them.
But I don't know if they do work profiles. Like,
No, maybe not.
okay, that's the benefit that I like from Edge.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
If Chrome gets, if your computer dies or something, you're not syncing. Sucks. Let's see. If you're at dinner, are you grabbing seconds or are you getting ice cream?
Seconds, or maybe you need to translate that to UK.
Yep.
What does
So
that mean?
so for seconds, like, oh, I'm just gonna go get another slice of pizza.
Oh, I see.
Mhm.
Yeah, seconds.
Seconds.
Yeah.
Is there like a particular, like, do you have any favorite foods or like,
I like steak.
okay,
I actually quite like lamb.
lamb.
Yeah.
Was it like you introduced that to your palate recently or?
No, I like lamb.
It's really good.
Yeah,
It's really good.
quite good. Yeah. I think a good lamb is probably as good as a good steak, maybe. Although I had an incredible steak in Seattle last time I was there, so yeah.
Was it ribeye?
No, it was fillet.
Oof. Well done.
No, obviously not. Obviously not. I mean, it was well done, but it wasn't well done. No, it was good.
So, I just want to, thank my special guest again, Dean. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We'll have you again in the future. I hope. We'll run it back again.
We'll come back next year.
So, yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
All right.
You're a busy guy, literally a busy guy. So I really do appreciate you, taking time out of your day.
You're welcome. It's good to be here.
So, and we'll go get some beers later.
Sounds good.
Thanks, man.
See.